Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Layla McCay. I'm the director of the Centre for Urban Design and Mental Health. And I just want to welcome you all to this really exciting evening that we have here tonight. You guys are the discriminating bunch of London, and the fact that there's so many people here and so many people interested around the world is absolutely testament to the really exciting rise of interest in urban design and mental health. And before I even start, I must remember, of course, to thank the Wellcome Trust. They have given us this venue and have been absolutely amazing. So can we just, round of applause please, to thank the Wellcome Trust. I will also draw your attention to the hashtag for tonight, UDMH London. Please do tweet. There's people all over the world that are watching and hopefully participating. And I will also draw your attention to the fact that once we finish this, you will be able to go next door and have a glass of wine. Other things I'm supposed to tell you are if there's a fire alarm, then it's fire, run, don't run, walk in a serene fashion towards the exits. And I think that's about all the things I need to tell you. So what's going to happen tonight? This is the plan. First of all, we'll have the introduction by me. It's already happening. We are on top of this. Next we're going to have what is becoming a UDMH special, which is 5 speakers talking for 5 minutes on 5 really diverse topics at the nexus of urban design and mental health. Next, we'll have a question and answer session, so get your questions ready. And then at the end, anybody who has an event or exhibition or some such thing that you think is relevant to this audience, you have 30 seconds to take the mic and tell people about it. After that, as I say, we'll go next door and have wine, and do not forget to give your name badge back at the end. I have been asked very, very kindly. So what's UDMH? Well, we are a new-ish international think tank that's really focusing on just this one question: how can we build better mental health into our cities? And, you know, you can look at that in all sorts of ways. You can look at it from an architecture perspective and a transport perspective and, you know, geography and engineering and all these things. Or, you know, you can look at it in a perspective of what are the different elements that you can integrate into all these different sectors. So we're still really thinking through the right model for this. And at the moment, what we're thinking is these different criteria are proving to be really prevalent in the research. So social space, how can we design cities in a way that promotes social interactions? Green space, how can we make sure that people have access to parks and trees and other forms of nature? Active space, so that includes all sorts of things around the benefits of exercise, including active transport. Safe space, which goes all the way from being able to walk down your street without fearing being attacked, to people with dementia being able to safely navigate around their own neighbourhoods. And then engaging space, how can we get people to really, you know, love the place that they're in and be interested in it, be learning, be participating in it. So these are the things that we're thinking about, and at the moment we have fellows all over the world who are working on different aspects of this. Some of them are here tonight. If you're a fellow, raise your hand now. Hello, fellows. That's a sheepish raising of hand. Be proud of your fellow status. And yeah, so we have people working on this from all sorts of different angles, and it's really, really interesting. And what we're doing is we're publishing op-eds in our weekly Sanity and Urbanity column. We are bringing people together at events like this all over the world, and we're trying to participate in the global conversations to get urban design and mental health as part of the thinking when people are talking about cities, for example, in the UN's Habitat 3 process and things like that. And we're just getting people who are interested in this really diverse topic together to see how they can collaborate and be inspired by each other. And on that note, ever since the moment that we conceived UDMH, people have been trying to persuade us to launch a journal. I did not want to launch a journal because it sounded like a lot of effort. However, luckily one of our fellows who cannot be here tonight, Itai Palti, who's in Israel right now, volunteered to guest edit a pilot edition of the journal. So it's very exciting. Not only are you here for this event, but you're also here for the launch of the journal. And here it looks in all its glory. It's an online journal. It is online from right now. And it's got a really interesting array of research and analysis pieces on quite a range of topics. Now, Itai, the guest editor, has put together a fancy little 3-minute video. So let's see if I can be sufficiently fancy as to make it play for you.
We're all familiar with stories of the golem from Prague and Frankenstein, inanimate objects injected with life. These are examples of things becoming conscious, the quality or state of being aware, especially of something within oneself. Could we do the same to our cities? We're already busy making them more efficient and productive. We make them smarter by using technology to interact with services and organizations, channeling data from one point to another. There's an even greater amount of information being produced that expresses our day-to-day lives. We mark out routes, post photos, write about experiences, tweet our thoughts, and on the most part with the intention of being seen and heard. We're producing a constant stream of expression. What if a city became aware of this information and began to make sense of what's going on inside of itself? It could combine a huge amount of data with a growing body of knowledge of how we experience our built environment, one that is continuously being updated by the behavioral and brain sciences. Take, for example, a study revealing that some city streets cause increased cognitive load. This happens when the levels of stimuli in our surroundings are too high, overwhelming our brain systems. It has adverse effects such as depleting our attention capacity and is thought to weaken functions such as self-control. Imagine if the city became aware of the times when a problematic street is overloaded with stimuli and helped adapt it to our benefit. But it doesn't all need to be instant changes. There are semi-permanent improvements that a conscious city could make according to patterns of behavior. It could encourage playful learning for children outside of school, or offer more opportunities for interaction in areas where the old suffer from loneliness. We already know that we can design spaces and environments that affect our mood and behavior, even if until recently our understanding was anecdotal. From monuments that inspire awe, to department stores that disconnect us from time. We've begun to use advances in psychology and neuroscience to improve environments like hospitals and schools. And this is possible at any scale. We have an opportunity to improve our well-being through architecture and urban design that better consider our needs. We should make sure that new knowledge is used right so that our cities become healthier, more inclusive, and democratic. And we can do this by building conscious cities.
So that is essentially what the theme of this first journal is about. And we have all sorts of really interesting papers, including by some of the people tonight, including by two of the speakers tonight. So you should definitely log on and read those. It's really, really great. Everything from smartphones to traumascapes. Like, I was just so fascinated reading all of those articles, and I know that you will be too. But onwards. This is what happened at the last UDMH dialogue, which was the Washington, D.C. dialogue. You can see all of these videos online, so I won't spend loads of time talking about it. But we were talking about how mental health is poorly represented in the urban design community, urban health community. We were talking about new guidelines by the Urban Land Institute for land use to improve mental health. A paediatrician was talking about whether we can prescribe parks instead of pills to help, particularly with some children's mental disorders. We had Jamie Huffcutt from Gensler talking about some of the key things they think about when they're designing in for good mental health and well-being. And we had Chris Hamilton making the case for active transportation for good mental health. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, in the London dialogue. The next one's Tokyo, so we are going round the world.